It all started on this quiet evening in my little suburb out in Colorado Springs. I just settled into this cozy ranch-style house after a long stint overseas with the agency, thinking finally, a place to call my own, away from the chaos. But nope, fate had other plans, because suddenly the front door flies open, no knock, no nothing, and in storms, this woman, Linda, our neighborhood HOA queen bee, waving some crumpled paper like it's the Declaration of Independence, her face all twisted in that self-righteous fury. "This property's in violation!" she snaps, eyes narrowing at me like I'm some low-life intruder. "Pack your crap and get out, or I'll have the cops here tonight to haul you away!" I stood there in the living room, coffee mug still warm in my hand, feeling that familiar knot in my gut. Not fear exactly, more like the slow burn of someone who's dealt with real threats before. But this was personal, hitting right at the heart of what I'd fought for. A home, stability, after years of dodging bullets and shadows I can't even talk about. Linda didn't know that, of course. To her, I was just the new guy who didn't kiss up to her petty rules, the one who'd painted his fence a shade too bold, parked his truck a hair too close to the curb. Little things that gnawed at her because, deep down, she thrived on control, ever since her husband left, and she poured all that bitterness into ruling our cul-de-sac like her personal fiefdom. She marched right past me into the hallway, that smug grin widening as if she'd already won, oblivious to the two guys in uniform leaning against my kitchen counter, arms crossed, watching her like hawks. Friends from the local precinct I'd called earlier, tipped off by a neighbor who'd seen her snooping around my yard for weeks, whispering rumors that I was squatting, that the house wasn't mine because, get this, she had some old grudge against the previous owners and figured twisting the knife on me would settle her score. Her steps faltered when she spotted them, that victory smile freezing into something almost comical, her voice cracking just a bit as she stammered, What's this all about?" One of the officers, Mike, a burly guy with a mustache that screamed, "I've seen it all," tilted his head, calm as a summer lake, and said, "Ma'am, mind telling us where you got the guts to barge into someone's home like that?" The air went thick. You could hear the clock ticking in the silence, and I leaned against the wall, arms folded, feeling a quiet satisfaction bubble up, because this wasn't just about defending my turf. It was about pushing back against bullies who hide behind clipboards and fake authority, the kind that erode communities from the inside. Linda tried to backpedal, laughing it off nervously. "Oh, just HOA business. Keeping things safe, you know." But the other officer, Sarah, picked up that phony notice she'd dropped, scanning it with a raised eyebrow. "This ain't real, lady," she said flatly. "And waltzing in here uninvited? That's breaking and entering, felony territory." She paled, but oh man, Linda wasn't one to fold easy. Her eyes darted around, that panic mixing with the rage she'd bottled up from years of neighborhood spats. Folks whispered she'd pulled similar stunts before, forging complaints to oust people she didn't like, all because she craved that power high, especially after her own life fell apart. "You don't get it," she hissed, pointing a shaky finger at me. "He's not supposed to be here. This house is out of code. He's a squatter. I reported him to the county already. They're coming." Her voice rose, desperate now, and for a split second I felt the ground shift under me. Not because I doubted my own papers, but because lies like hers can snowball, turning good people against each other in these tight-knit spots where trust is everything. I stayed cool, though, reaching into a drawer for the folder I'd prepped. Deed, mortgage, taxes, all stamped and legit, and slid it over. Mike flipped through it, nodding slowly, then fixed her with a stare that could melt steel. "So, on what planet do you think you've got the right to play judge and jury here?" That's when her bluff kicked into overdrive. She crossed her arms, chin up, barking at them like they were her underlings. "You're making a huge mistake. I've got the county on speed dial, and once they show, you'll see I'm right all along." But I could see the cracks, the way her lips trembled beneath that forced confidence, and I pulled out my wallet, letting the badge catch the light. Federal agent, the real deal, not some costume prop. "Careful what you say next, Linda," I murmured, voice low and steady, because lying to me isn't just neighborly chit-chat, it's a federal offense. Her face crumpled, but before she could spit back, tires screeched outside, lights flashing red and blue through the curtains, more boots pounding up the walk, and there she was, straightening up with that wild gleam, whispering, "That's them. Now you're done." The door burst open, Two deputies piling in, hands hovering near their holsters, eyes sweeping the room like pros. Linda lunged forward, all dramatics, jabbing her finger my way. "That's the guy, the squatter. Arrest him now." Her voice shrill, almost triumphant, as if this was her big reveal, the payoff for all those late nights plotting over HOA minutes, driven by that toxic mix of envy and entitlement that had her convinced outsiders like me were threats to her little empire. But the lead deputy, a guy named Reyes with a scar on his cheek from God knows what, clocked my badge on the counter, his posture easing into something like respect. "Evening, Agent," he said, tipping his hat. "Didn't know this was your turf. We got a call about a break-in, but sounds like the details got twisted." Linda's jaw dropped, her eyes bulging as the realization hit. "Agent? No, he's lying. You've all been tricked," she shrieked, flailing now, but Reyes just ignored her, turning to me with a notepad out. "Press charges, sir?" She staggered back, the arrogance draining away, replaced by raw fear, the kind that comes when your house of cards collapses and you see the wreckage you've caused, not just to me, but to the whole block she'd terrorized with her manipulations. But Linda, true to form, wasn't quitting. She dove for her purse, yanking out her phone with trembling hands. "I've got proof. Look, county email says he's under investigation." Thrusting it at them like a lifeline. The deputies huddled over it, and for a tense beat, my stomach twisted. What if she'd gone that far, forging official docs out of sheer spite? Then Reyes frowned, angling the screen. "Seals bogus, pixelated mess, obvious fake." I couldn't hold back a small chuckle, leaning in. "Linda, you just waved forged government papers at actual government folks. That's not smart." Her phone clattered to the floor as she clutched her chest, spinning toward the door like a cornered animal. "You're all in on it. This is abuse." But Sarah was quicker, grabbing her arm firm but fair. "That's enough, ma'am. You're coming with us." Linda thrashed and screamed the whole way out, kicking at the deputies, vowing lawsuits that echoed through the night. But as they hauled her into the cruiser under those flashing lights, the neighborhood spilling out onto lawns with phones up, capturing her downfall in real time. It felt like justice, sweet and overdue, not just for me, but for everyone she'd bullied, her reign ending in a spectacle that exposed the rot beneath those perfect picket fences. And here's the thing that still nags at me even now. Sure, she got slapped with charges for breaking and entering, forgery, the works. And yeah, the HOA board ousted her faster than you can say bylaws. But was it all black and white? I mean, in her twisted head, maybe she thought she was protecting the community from outsiders like me, fueled by her own losses, her loneliness turning toxic. Or was it pure power play, no excuses? Makes you wonder about the Lindas in every neighborhood, the fine line between vigilance and vigilantism. What do you think? Have you dealt with someone like that, where the good intentions mask something darker? Drop your stories in the comments. Share if justice like this feels satisfying, or if there's more gray area we should talk about. Let's keep the conversation going, folks.